Café and Networking Podcast promotes successful business experts. I'm Tom Reaoch, known as the King of Networking, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Today we talk with Steve Sommerfeld, and he's joining us from Germany. Steve is an action sports athlete who risks daily injury to put on a show for the fans, a professional freestyle motocross rider, events and marketing manager at Freestyle Motocross World Championship Series. He's also a podcast host at Riders Lounge Podcast. So Steve, how do you balance confidence and fear?
That's a very tricky question. Thank you for having me on, firstly. I do have to say that. It's a very tricky question, but with confidence and fear, you get past the fear by hopefully bringing all the confidence of all your past experiences until that point where you know, do you go forward with something or do you step back? And as a freestyle motocross rider for the last 20 years, I was one of the slow guys to work past my fear. I always wanted to be, I was that guy that had to be 99.99% confident that I had what I had before I would push. But once I pushed, it was like the floodgates opened and the world just completely changed. So
you spent a lot of time eating other people's dust.
I did, unfortunately, but I survived a little bit longer than most. And that was, so I was always looking at the end game, not going big and going in the ambulance home. So that's how I do it. But we were talking about the sports side, which has been the last 20 years of my life,
right?
Riding shows, performing in the World Championships or other massive competitions around the world. But I get scared calling the pizza, calling to get a pizza. I hate it. I hate getting on the phone and doing that. And my wife would just laugh at me like, I'll go and risk my life to jump a dirt bike and do backflips, but I hate calling the most basic things during daily life. So there's different people have different fears, and it's not a fear. I don't know what it is, but hopefully one day I'll overcome it.
And we say, fail fast, right?
That's it. I do that.
Obviously, you've fallen off your bike, and you might have fallen out of business. But when we look at sports as a business, it's become massive. All types of sports have become massive.
Well, that's it. Like
people want to go out and see other people doing things and doing what you're doing, and I'm sure the other competitors do.
That's it. And it's quite funny because what I do was not even a sport until about 1998. There was Evel Knievel in the old days. Right. There was these stunt riders in the old days, but they would just do their one jump and that was it. You'd all come and watch if Evel would crash at Caesar's Palace or something like that. Right. And that was about it until the next year or two when he got back on after the last injury. But it became a sport and I luckily fell into it and I was able to continue on. But on the other side, I wanted to go into the business side. So that's where, working with the World Championships, with Night of the Jumps, we built a motorbike park with the government in Australia. It's called Queensland Moto Park. We had 36,000 people in the first year because we could see everybody wanted to ride their motorbike, but there's nowhere to do it. Right. I was managing some of the best riders in the world, Josh Sheehan, Clinton Moore. They both won X Games, X Fighters, Night of the Jumps. So I kind of found myself doing the business side and enjoying that quite a lot at the same time that I was riding professionally. And that was a problem.
That's two hats. Well, it's two helmets, right?
It was there. Exactly. That's right. It was two helmets and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But it was actually one of my really good friends, one of my best friends, actually. He said, you went to university, you've got your business management and marketing degree. All you're doing is riding a motorbike. Why don't you do something on the side?
Right.
And I would say even then I had that little bit of fear of doing it because I thought, well, I'm busy training every day. I'm busy training. I don't want to crash. I don't want to die. But it took me probably 6 months before I took his idea and actually put it into action. And that in 2008 or 9, when I finally did it, has led to me now still being actively involved in the sport that I love, that I am now retired from due to crashing. And, I've got a very nice hip replacement at the age of 38.
Well, that could become a side business, right?
Well, selling prosthetics. Yeah, I could probably do that. But that was the, let's say, to jump past that hurdle 15 years ago means I'm still able to be in the business.
Well, that's a good example, though, today. And I'm really saying today, post-pandemic, where many people have decided they want to do something else with their life. They come to the same point. Well, I've done something. I've been in my small business. And they just look at their small business. They don't look beyond. They don't step back and take a look. So actually, you got off your bike and you went up into the bleachers and you took a look at the event and you saw where the money is.
That's it. Exactly. And from that point as well, I've done just about every part of organizing the event, from organizing it, managing the riders. I commentate the show. I help to build the setup,
promote
the show. Exactly. And there's one job that I haven't done yet, and that's to be the mascot. I want to be the mascot. I watch it all the time, and I see the mascot doing what they do, and I think, you know what, just for a laugh, I will put on the suit. I'll put on the mascot head, and I'm going to run out there and I'll do it. I will do it one day.
Well, what I would do when you do that, go out there with the mascot head, but then with the other mascot, take your headpieces off.
Oh, there we go.
See the real person behind the mascots.
Absolutely.
They're real people, and we don't see them as people.
That's it.
We see them as something. We see them as a bird or whatever, but they're real people, and they get the crowd going. And if they be 30,000, 100,000, whatever. That's an art in itself, but show yourself.
Absolutely. It is an art to do that. You're a performer and you need to know when to get the crowd excited. Are they, it ebbs and flows and you need to follow it. And it's the one thing I haven't done at our events yet.
I'll do that. I'm from Pittsburgh in the States, and one of my cousins in the baseball games there during the innings they have, and in Pittsburgh specifically, they have pierogies. Pierogies is a Polish dish, and they come out, dressed as pierogies.
Wait, the Polish
but they go out and they run around the field pierogies because everybody likes pierogies. And my cousin was actually one of these pierogies. I said, well, I would never do that. All right? But back to that, we need to tell what we do. We need to show, we have to promote ourselves, whatever it is, and wherever it is, okay?
That's right. No, well, I'm actually surprised you had pierogies. I love it. I had my rehabilitation for my hip replacement in Poland in a place called Zdrój. And the best thing, it was like 5-star food for every breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And every day I would go in there looking for the pierogi. I thought, I loved it.
Well, that's so funny. I was actually born in an area of Pittsburgh near where it was a Polish area. It was half Polish and half Italian. So either we had hot sausage or would have pierogies. And that's the culture. So like today, being in Europe, you get to literally taste culture.
Absolutely. You 20 kilometers up the road, it's a completely different culture, no matter where you are in whatever country. It's unbelievable.
Very good. Well, Steve, we're coming to the end of our time. Where can our listeners find you?
You can find me in a variety of places. So normally the Riders Lounge podcast.com, very simple, or stevesommerfeld.com. But if you want to get involved and look into big freestyle motocross events, nightofthejumps.com, that is the World Championships where I rode, I judge, I commentate, and now let's say it's almost a real job that I work with them. But on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, everywhere, Steve Sommerfeld, you'll find
Sommerfeld. Very good. Well, thanks for being here. Congratulations on what you do.
Thank you very much for having me. It was great to join.
My pleasure. And for our listeners, again, more information about Steve Sommerfeld. It's Steve. The last name is Sommerfeld. Find him on ridersloungepodcast.com. You'll find him on LinkedIn and all of the other social media. Café and Networking is brought to us by Focus MI Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at their site, www.focusmi.com. Thanks for listening until the next time here at Café and Networking Podcast.